Hello everybody, ProtoFoxy here, coming back at you with another deck tech video. Hopefully you all are staying healthy and staying safe out there in these uncertain times. We will get through this together, and hopefully I can just provide you some enjoyment and help you pass the time, and help you think about some of the nicer things out there. But anyway, enough of that. We are going to go in to my favorite format, Pauper, and we are going to take a look at this deck here. This is Mono Black Control for Pauper. And now recently, there were some cards added to deck lists here and there due to downshifts and reprints and stuff like that. One very important reprint happened, and real big. I mean, I've always played this deck, and another one of my favorite decks in Pauper to play. But I always felt like there was a card that was very, very unobtainable because the price was so high for the Pauper format, at least. It is just an expensive card in general, but it's here now, and we will talk about it as we talk about the card selection. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Over here, we've got 4 Combage Witches, which is double black for 1/3, and it reads you tap it and you can ping 1 damage to a target creature or player, and it also deals 1 damage to target creature or player of that opponent's choice. Choose your target first. Just a really nice little efficient pinger for when you go up against the aggressive decks, and obviously the 1 little damage that's coming back your way for the creatures in this deck, it's definitely not a big deal. So that's that. That's there. We got 3 Chittering Rats, a generic in double black for a rat, a 2/2 rat that reads when it comes into play, target opponent puts a card from his or her hand on top of his or her library. So yeah, it's just definitely a really good way to really just kind of mess up their draws and their game plan by forcing them to put a card on the top of their library. Come over here to 3 Phyrexian Ragers for 2 generic and a black. You get a 2/2 horror that reads when it enters the battlefield, when it comes into play, you draw a card and lose a life. Just a real nice little card draw on a 2/2 body here. We come over here now, newest edition. Some people are running, some people aren't. I've actually chosen to do so just because I really like this card. Recent downshift in Double Masters. This is Bone Picker, 3 generic and a black for a 3/2 bird that reads this spell costs 3 less to cast if a creature died this turn. With this deck, that's going to be fairly simple. So it goes from being a very mediocre statted compared to cost card to just an excellent efficient attacker. Come over here to 3 Thorn of the Black Rose, which is 3 generic and a black for a human assassin with Death Touch. And when it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Now, when you're the monarch, I believe the mechanic, and sometimes I forget how to explain it, but it adds extra card draw, I believe. Oh, God, I can't remember when. I'll have to look it up now. Somebody will correct me in the comments. But it's just a more card draw advantage, and the 1/3 Death Touch is just real nice. Just a very efficient blocker. Very scary creature to have somebody trying to attack into. Come over here to 3 Gray Merchant of Asphodels. We know why he's here. Just a very nice top-end finisher. And obviously Devotion triggers real well in this deck. So, yeah, you know who he is. You know why he's here. And you know why we're looking at him. Let's go over to the spell package. Lots of removal in this deck here. We've got 3 Defiles, a single black. That reads target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. We've got another recent downshift. We got 2 cast downs, a generic and a black, which reads destroy target non-legendary creature. Now in Pauper format, we don't have any legendary creatures, so this basically reads just destroy target creature. Very nice efficient removal. We've got 2 Diabolic Edicts, generic and a black for an instant that reads, target player sacrifices a creature. We've got 2 Divest, a single black for a sorcery that reads, target player reveals their hand, you choose an artifact or creature card from it, that player discards that card. And we come over to 1 Duress, which is just about the same thing, except you're grabbing a non-creature, non-land card from it. So these cards here are your discard suite. Come over here, 2 Sign in Blood, 2 black for a sorcery that reads, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Now here, obviously this has a couple of different applications. Obviously you're using it for yourself for card draw, and the loss of life doesn't really matter much considering that you're gaining life off of Gary and whatnot. But also, it can be used as a burn spell against your opponent if they're on them last 2 points there, and you can force them to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life and win the game. So just a real nice little trick there. Then we come over to a reprint from Double Masters that everybody in Pauper was waiting for, that played black anyway, and that is 2 Oubliette. Now, the original Oubliette had a wall of text on the card that was just very funky to understand. They've simplified it, and it's real nice. Generic and 2 black, that reads, for an enchantment, that reads, when Oubliette enters the battlefield, target creature phases out until Oubliette leaves the battlefield. Tap that creature as it phases in this way. Just very super efficient removal. More pips for Gary. Just real nice. And we've got 2 Pestilence, 2 generic, 2 black. At the end of each turn, if no creatures are in play, sacrifice Pestilence. Pay 1 black. Deals 1 damage to each creature and player. Just very iconic, very efficient mono black enchantment here. Go over to the mana base. We got 2 Witches' Cottages, which enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more swamps. And when it enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target creature card from your graveyard to the top of your library. So any of your creatures in this deck, end up in the graveyard, and obviously you can get them back. A bit of recursion there. Got 2 Baron Moors, which taps for a black, and also has cycling for a black. We've got 2 Bojuka Bogs, which enters tapped, taps for a black, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to blow up your opponent's graveyard, which is just very nice. And we've got 17 Swamps, very easy mana base here. And there you have it. Mono black control for the Pauper format, and again, just a really fun deck to play. Sometimes it can be miserable for your opponent, but is what it is. That's what control does. It's looking to control the board, but it's just a lot of fun. Not really expensive at all, even with Oubliette in the deck now that it's been reprinted. Again, sideboard is dependent on your local meta. So, yeah, get it. If something looks like it interests you, go ahead and get it sleeved up, and hit the tables. And it's a lot of fun. Hopefully y'all are staying safe out there. Wash your hands, wear your masks, be kind to your fellow man, and I will see you in the next video.